Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Hasanah and my NPM 20020010023, and in this time I want to create a video to submit assignment ESP for program development subject about the nature of methodology. The nature of methodology. When we talk about specific methodology, we mean all language aspect from reading complex articles to making a presentation. Hutchinson and Waters, 1987, claimed that there is no specific methodology for ESP. The same participle apply with ELT methodology in general. It can be arguable whether there is a specific methodology for ESP. His experience is that knowing general English methodology does not make a teacher successful in techniques that the teacher implements in the classroom. For example, if the teacher is not familiar with such specific subject matter as the blast furnace or power station, he won't be able to want to prepare his own material for this matter. It is not always possible to find what material you want to use during the course in the course book. In ESP course, the teacher has to put more effort than general English course. Dudley, Evans, and St. John, 1998, claim that strength of methodology is the way in which language learning and subject learning approach can be integrated. The proposed two approach, case studies and project work. They have stated that case studies integrate knowledge, skill, theory, and any experience, especially in law, medicine, engineering, and business. The only issue with case studies is the knowledge of the ESP teacher in the subject that he or she teach. ESP teacher should work with the subject teacher if he or she doesn't have a subject background. In project work, unlike case studies, students find and stimulate the information. Motivation is higher. Dudley, Evans, and St. John's points out that project work starts in the classroom and moves outside the classroom. There are 5 main stages have identified of development, which are commonly known as behaviorism, mentalism, cognitive code, the affective factor, learning, and acquisition. Behaviorism, learning as habit formation. Pavlov and Skinner, learning is a mechanic process of habit formation and proceeds by means of the frequent reinforcement of a stimulus response sequence. It provides the theoretical underpinning of the widely used audiolingual method. Mentalism, thinking as rule govern activity according to Noam Chomsky, 1964, as cited in Hutchinson and Walter, 1987. Language is not a form of behavior, rather it is an intricate rule-based system, and a large part of language acquisition is the learning of the system. He argues that thinking is rule governed. Cognitive code, Learning as thinking beings. According to the cognitive theory, learning is a process in which the learner actively tries to make sense of data. This theory treats the learner as thinking being and puts them firmly at the center of the learning process by stressing that learning will only take place when the matter to be learned is meaningful to the learners. The affective factors. Learners as emotional beings. People think, but they also have feelings. It is as if we believe that humans being always act in logical and sensible manner. The importance of the emotional factor is easily seen if we consider the relationship between the cognitive and affective aspect of the learners. The cognitive factors presuppose the affective factors of motivation. The emotional reaction to the learning experience is the essential foundation for the initiation of cognitive process, language, and acquisition. Learning is seen as a conscious process, while acquisition proceeds unconsciously. The acquisition learning distinction is the most fundamental of all the hypotheses in crescent theory and the most widely known among linguists and language practitioners. Basic principle of language learning. There are 8 basic principles of language learning in which will underpin learning-centered research methodology. Second, language learning is a developmental process. Language learning is an active process. Language learning is a decision-making process. Language learning is not just a matter of linguistic knowledge. Language learning is not the learner's first experience with language. Learning is an emotional experience. Language learning is to large extent incidental. Language learning is not systematic. First, second, language learning is a developmental process. Learners use their existing knowledge to make the new information comprehensible. The learner's existing state of knowledge is therefore a vital element in the case of failure of learning, and the good teacher will consequently try to establish and exploit what the learner already knows. The second, language learning is an active process. It's not enough for the learners to only have the necessary knowledge to make things meaningful, but they must also use the knowledge. Teachers have to make a distinction between two types of activity: psychomotor activity and language processing activity. This means that activity should not be judged in terms of how learners say or write, but in terms of how much the learners have to think to use their cognitive capacities and knowledge of the world to make sense of the flow of new information. The third, language learning is a decision-making process. In the traditional classroom, the teacher made all the decisions to avoid all possibilities of error. Teacher can make decisions without taking risks, and taking risks make errors possible or even likely. But the process of developing and using a network of knowledge relies upon a train of learners. Learner must be decision maker. For the fourth, language learning is not just a matter of linguistic knowledge. The most fundamental problem of second language learning is the mismatch between the learner's conceptual or cognitive capacities and the learner linguistic level. The fifth, language learning is not the learner's first experience with language. Every second language learner is already communicatively competent in one language. The sixth, learning is an emotional experience. Teachers should develop the positive emotion as opposed to the negative ones, for example, using pair and group work to build on existing social relationships, giving students time to think, and generally avoiding undue pressure. The seventh, language learning is to a large extent incidental. Teachers don't have to be working with language problem in order to learn language. And the last, language learning is not systematic. Teachers learn by systematizing knowledge. The process itself is not systematic. Laying out information in a systematic way will not guarantee learning. I think enough. That's all from me. Thank you very much for your attention, and thank you very much for watching my video. Thank you very much for all your time. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.